Most of my videos always revolve around a single project or goal, and making those kinds of videos takes a lot of time to plan and even more time to actually produce. And in making only those kinds of videos, I end up missing a lot of what the core of Minecraft is truly about. And that's just building. Not just one massive project after the other, but building a world as a whole that has some character and feels truly lived in. So this video is going to be the start of a new series on the channel where I do just that. Just build and grow the world. Think of it as kind of a one-man Hermitcraft style series. But for this first episode, we'll start here at home at my main base, which really hasn't changed a whole lot since the start of the series over a year ago now. I mean, yeah, we got the vault for the 1.21 mobs and a couple other builds scattered around, but there's not much else. So for this first episode, I want to focus on this left side of the valley with this piece of land here to really fill it out and make it feel like a village. So let's grab some wool to make kind of a layout of what we want to build. And I'll do a little bit of terraforming, and this is the spot that we're going to put our first couple buildings. Okay, the landscape definitely looks a lot cleaner now. So for the buildings that I want to build, I want to do a butcher shop, an armory, and then kind of like a witch potion hut, because I don't brew any potions or use any potions at all, so I might as well make some and stockpile them because they could come in handy a little bit later. But let me quickly do an outline of where these buildings are going to be, because I also want to add some paths in between all the buildings to make everything connected. Okay, I'm almost done outlining every building, but I have to remove some more dirt, and I keep getting slightly out of beacon range from this beacon here. So I went ahead and designed this little beacon pylon that I can litter all across the valley, so we'll have a much easier time building and doing whatever we're gonna do here. This is also the first time I think I've ever used a banner pattern in this game, but they look really cool. Anyway, that's our 4 pylons done, so let's finish our outline for this little village we're gonna do. All right, this will be where our first 3 buildings are. Now I want to create some pathways so that each one of the buildings connects and kind of has like walking sidewalks to go across. So I'll start from the entrances of the already existing buildings and then kind of just connect everything together. We'll go ahead and line all the paths with some trees and some plants. All right, this place is already looking a lot better. All right, for the first building that we'll do here, we're gonna do the armory, which will just be a building I can use to house like extra tools and armor in the event that I somehow lose these. I mean, it is a hardcore world, so if I die, having backups doesn't really mean much, but it'll be nice to have backup stuff anyway. So we'll finish up the frame of the building here. Okay, and the left side of the building here is gonna be like a kiln area where we can smelt all of the armor and tools, and then the right side will be like a forge where we'll make everything and store all of the tools and weapons. So I'll build the kiln area to be more made of stone, since that's obviously a little bit more fireproof than all the wood. And then on the outside, I'll detail it kind of like a normal house on the right side, and then we'll add some details on the inside as well. And that should do it. I'll leave most of the storage empty for now, and over time, as I get more weapons and armor, I'll slowly fill the place up as I get those things. Next, let's go ahead and do the butcher shop, which is going to be right here, because this chest is overflowing with meats, and I definitely am going to need a little bit more storage for the food. This building will be a little bit smaller and a little more basic, just a 2-story box with some furnaces at the bottom and some storage for all of the food up top. Now you may have noticed these banners I put here, as well as on the rest of the pylons around the valley. So I came up with this idea that I thought would be really cool for the world, to have different factions that kind of represent different things throughout the world, and each have their own kind of theme. So the first faction here with this banner is the faction of something I'm calling the World Binders. And they will be the kind of main faction of the world, the ruling faction, quote unquote, with the goal of building massive builds, expanding their territory, and connecting everything together, hence the term binding. And then every other faction I come up with will kind of exist underneath this one. Well, maybe all of them. And I don't want to go too deep into detail with these factions. I'm not writing a book, it's just a Minecraft world. But I want it to be kind of similar to the existing mythology that's already in Minecraft. Think of something like the ancient city, right? You show up there, you wonder who built this place, what was its purpose, and how did it become abandoned how it is today, right? There's no explicit storytelling, but it's kind of just the environment that tells a story of its own. That's kind of the level of mystery I'm going for with these different factions. Anyway, we have one more main building that I want to build on the side of the valley, and that is the potion house. For this building, I'll do a similar theme to the armory building that we did earlier, just like a basic wood frame with some stone details, and we'll just make it a tad bit taller this time. And on the inside, we'll fill it with brewing stands, as well as a bunch of storage for all of the different potions in the game. Okay, and that should be the main buildings for this side of the valley. Now, to fill out the rest of the space here, I'll do a couple smaller buildings that are mainly just gonna be for decoration. We'll scatter around a few smaller houses, and then I think I'll put a clock tower maybe here. So let me grab a few more materials that we've been using for the other buildings. Okay, and I think I want to put a little house right here, and then we'll go ahead and connect the path to the main road up by the rest of the buildings. Okay, let's also do another one right here, because there's this big open space here. Okay, next I'm gonna do the clock tower, I think over here. So let me remove some land so I can do that. Okay, this turned out pretty good. I think I'm gonna do 2 more houses, one here and maybe a little further over there. I don't want it to cover this sign though. And then I'll connect it all with some paths, put a couple more trees, and then on this left side, I want it to be completely sprawling with, I think, crops. Maybe alternating beet and wheat crops to kind of give it that red theme that we have going on. And then that should do it for this side of the valley. Okay, I'll do one more house here in order to be more like a kind of modern flat house instead of like the slanted roofs of the other ones. Change it up just a little bit, but I'm still gonna do like the wood and then the red banners as well. All right, we'll put some decorations inside. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you put like one of these decorated pots from 1.21 and then you put a lantern on top of it, it sits perfectly in the center. And it makes for a pretty cool and simple light fixture. I kind of figured that out on accident earlier. Looks pretty cool. So I'm kind of scattering these all over the place. Okay, our village is starting to come together. I'm gonna do one more house over there. And then I think I want to do some animal pens. Okay, the last main thing I want to build on this side is like an animal pen, and I think I'll build it right next to the butcher so we can raise them, slaughter them, and then immediately cook their flesh. Nice. Okay, I think I'll do pigs, cows. Actually, let me think about this. Who cares about pigs? Steak is definitely the most fun food. So maybe I'll just do cows. But let's make multiple pens anyway, just so we don't have one massive crowd and we can kind of split it up a little bit. It'll look a little bit nicer, and it will just make managing the cow population a tad bit easier. Okay, now we just need to find 2 cows. I have not seen an animal in this valley in forever, so let's see. Oh, never mind. Right here. All right, come on, bro. Let's go. Follow me. All right, there we go. Now, I was gonna do some crops to kind of lay out the rest of the back half of this valley, but I realized irrigating stuff that's on a hill is pretty much impossible. So instead, I'm just gonna build a big wall that kind of extends all behind the buildings, and then we'll fill that area out with crops, and that should be pretty much everything. Okay, and I think this whole village is a pretty good foundation for the start of this series. Now, I quickly want to go over what kind of my grand plan is for the entire beginning of this series at least, and what everything's going to be kind of building towards. So this village here, even though it looks pretty nice, is actually going to be like the peasant village, right? Like where the not so noble individuals live, just like the common folk. So I think even though I've done a lot here, I'm going to do more. I think I'll add more houses wrapping this way a little bit, maybe a little bit more that way, and scatter some more common shacks around here, maybe do some more farmland. And then all the people that work, all the common people that work in this village are gonna actually work in the factories that I'm gonna build over here. Well, they're gonna work in the factories and also tend to the crops, which is why I'll expand more farmland as well. And if you guys remember, a long time ago, I made a video where I had this giant multi-farm. And well, I've slowly been working to take that apart. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Wilds, dude, you spent so much time working on this video and you're just destroying it? Yeah, I am. This thing was a cool video idea, but it was kind of just like a gimmick, right? Like all these farms were crammed together into a single storage thing, and it was so annoying to use. Every time I had to come here, if a farm was broken or there wasn't something working properly for some reason, it was just annoying to figure out like what was wrong, how to fix it, then to fix it, and then get it running, right? It's gonna be so much easier if I just have a lot of these farms as normal farms in like normal buildings, because then I can just tend to them one at a time if there's ever some kind of problem or something. So I'm working on taking apart this place, and we're gonna basically rebuild it, but just as normal farms. And that's what the left side of the valley is going to be here. So the right side will be living and residential, all looking nice, and then the left side will actually be more functional stuff, factories, farms, all that stuff. And earlier I talked about the factions and like what I want to do with them, and how the Worldbinder faction is like the main faction of the realm. And every realm, every faction needs a capital, right? And since these guys are the main faction, they've got to have a grand capital. And that's what this whole valley is going to be. It's going to be the capital of the Worldbinders. So here's the plan. The center of all the world will exist right here in the 1.21 vault, resting specifically on the center of this very block, right? And so above me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build something I'm calling the Grand Spire, and it's gonna be that. A big spire that touches the sky, goes all the way to the sky limit. And what I wanna do is, since this village on the left is like the common people, what I'll do is I'll have basically a massive wide bridge covering all over the village and connecting to the spire here. And on top of that village, we'll have nicer houses, nicer housing for the noblemen of this kingdom. And then connecting to the Grand Spire even more will be a castle that I'm going to build on this mountain range I'm standing on right now. And it's going to sprawl all the way across here, and I'm going to call it the Snow Keep. So the Snow Keep will connect to the Grand Spire, and it will also connect over this way towards some battlements that I'm going to run across this mountain range here. And as we slowly make progress, this whole area is going to end up being covered by essentially a massive bridge or platform or whatever you want to call it that connects to the Grand Spire, and it's going to be shrouded in darkness. And I don't want it to be like these people are getting crushed, right? But it's more meant to be kind of like symbolic, right? Like the common people live under the nobles in this monarch society or whatever, like from the medieval ages. So I think on the underbelly of whatever this bridge is going to look like, I'll do like a bunch of vegetation with glowberries and leaves and stuff. So even though they're all sitting under it, it's still gonna look really cozy and warm and not so inhospitable, I guess. And as we slowly make progress on this capital, there's another project I wanna do. And I'm not gonna say exactly what it is yet, but I'm gonna call it the Great Battlements. So take with that what you will. I'm currently designing what it's gonna look like in a creative world, and even though I'm designing in a creative world, it's pretty big and it's taking a long time to design. And it's not something that's just gonna be built in a single episode. This is gonna take months. So I think what I'm gonna do is when I like reveal what this is, we'll slowly chip away progress at it every episode and slowly grow it until it's done, but you'll have to wait and see. But that's kind of the basic plan for how I want to start off this series. If you guys really like this kind of content, it's more like relaxing or chill, please let me know in the comments. Give me all the feedback you can, because it is useful if you guys tell me like what you like, what you don't like. It allows me to improve my content and make things better, you know? And like I said at the beginning of the video, my normal content isn't going anywhere. I'm still doing that. This is just an extra thing because I think it's gonna be fun. I want to do something that builds a world that looks really cool and has kind of a story behind it. So yeah, hit the like button, hit subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next episode, I'll see you guys later. Bye.